on around us. And so this morning what I want to do is address some of the circumstances that people are finding themselves in. And much of it is around race relations, and all of it is around fear and not knowing who and what we are. So yesterday I spoke with a fellow minister who said to me, "What are you going to talk about tomorrow?" And I said, "I'm going to talk about the riots and love and who we are." And so as we had this conversation, one of the things that became very clear is that we're not real sure about who we are. So I want to start with that. Who are we? What are we? And the reading today I thought was real interesting because I don't know if you heard it, but in the reading it said, "I'm not a vessel, but I am a channel." And I want you to think about a vessel. A vessel holds something, and it has to be filled before it spills over. And a channel just allows something to flow through. So I like the idea of channel much better than vessel. Because channel is saying that I'm allowing God to flow through me. So if in fact we believe in love, we talk about love. Every single teaching talks about love. And the question is, what is that? What is love? How does love look? And a lot of times love can look like protect. I love my child, I'm going to protect my child. Love can look like blind. I am so in love, I just can't see the stuff and I'm just floating along. I've been there. Love can look like, gee, I wish I looked like somebody else so I could love me. And what I really honestly believe is, one, love is an action. It's an action. And it's a emotion that is action. And we say that God is love. Yet we realize that there are people who suffer greatly. And the question is why? Is it that we're here to suffer? I don't believe that. I believe that our teaching teaches us that, no, you're not here to suffer. You're here to enjoy the good, the beautiful, and the true. And how do we miss out on it? We miss out on it because we really don't get that. We function from our eyes and not from the inner, the spirit, the channel. And if we were functioning through the channel, our experiences would be very different. So I've been out in the demonstrations. Matter of fact, on a couple of days ago, I went downtown for a demonstration here in Charlotte. And what was real interesting is that at the end, they had people stand to take a picture with their hands up, talking about don't shoot. So there's a couple of things that I want you to clearly understand. One, God works in pictures. So you now are presenting this picture to the universe that you're going to have your hands up in the air going, don't shoot. And it's just out of pure ignorance we do these things. And I understand why, but you don't understand how the universe works. Universe takes that picture and goes, oh, this is what you want to see. Doesn't hear the word, don't. Let me clearly repeat that one. God does not hear don't. Doesn't live in the negative. It doesn't function in the negative. So if you say, I don't want to be late, you're going to be late because God didn't hear the don't. You'll get in the door going, late. Why? Because God heard, I want to be late. We don't understand that. So while my daughter and I are there with this picture thing, I'm saying, dress yourself in the light of God and know something else for yourself. Because we're standing there. But part of what happens is we really don't understand how the universe works. Nobody standing there wants to have that experience, but they don't understand that they are presenting that experience to the universe. The experience that we really want is to be able to get along with everybody. But I have to go back to what I talked about Sunday last week. And I may go back to it over and over and over again because it is major. The first piece in terms of love is you. Do you love you? Do you embrace you? Can you really say, I love myself? Can you really embrace all of you? Can you take the package that you're in and say, I love you? And if the package you're in is not functioning the way it needs to, do you love yourself enough to make the appropriate adjustments so that you can live a whole, healthy, complete life? Do you love you? See, because if you don't love you, how can anybody else love you? They can't. They feel that vibration and they respond to it. It's not even in their hands in a sense. You send that out. I don't like me. Let me draw some more people that will affirm I don't like me. So part of the beginning work is really embracing yourself. And it's a work. It really is a work. It is something that I did with myself where I would look in the mirror on a daily basis and say, Claire, I love you. I love you, Claire. And really start feeling that. Really embrace that. Because we've all come through different paths. We've come through parents who may not have said, I love you. We've had teachers who may not have said, I love you and what you bring to the table. We've had friends who have made fun of us at times. And how deeply that goes is on an individual basis. And some of us carry that stuff around like a heavy weight all our lives. All our lives. But the beginning of this process is really recognizing it and beginning to make a commitment to heal it, to let it go. See, part of what the reading said today also is that you are unique. There's something that you bring to the table that no one else can. And if you're caught up in this self-hatred, you are not bringing it to the table. The table's still empty, waiting on you to sit down. So the first piece is self-love. And really recognizing the areas where you need to embrace yourself. Allow yourself to heal. Each and every one of us is a vessel, and we can be a channel. We're a channel, we are wide open, and allow Spirit to move through us as us. The other piece that I think that we really clearly need to understand is that God shows up in a myriad of forms. A myriad of forms. So there may be people in your life that look like you, and there may be some people in your life that don't look like you. But one of the things we talk about is fear. I read something yesterday on Facebook that was very disturbing to me, and that was that somebody was out with their child, and a police officer looked at her son, and fear crept up. See, that again is an emotion. And whatever you're afraid of, you're going to bring to yourself. So what I read into that is she's afraid for her child's life. You can't afford to walk around like that. You cannot. You have got to walk around knowing that you are a divine expression of God. Your child's a divine expression of God. The light of God is around you as you move in, around, and through your spaces, wherever they are. So again, I say to myself, well, who are we? Who do we really think we are? And clearly, we must understand that we are expressions of God. We are expressions of God. And as we really embody that, and we get up and we dress in that and remind ourselves of that, we begin to walk out with a very different vibration. You're no longer a female. You're no longer a male. You're no longer black or white, Asian, Caucasian. You are no longer that. You are a divine expression of God. And something happens. One, people feel that energy. Two, you begin to draw others who know that about themselves. And as you practice it, And you continue to, and it's a practice, it's a reminder. Because when we look in the mirror, we think we're human. You are not a human. You are an energy dressed in a human suit. You are not your suit. You are not your shoe. It's like your foot in the shoe. You are not your shoe. You're the foot. You're a spirit. And when we really begin to embrace that, how we move about and how we interact changes. It absolutely changes. I've been in the marches. I was there with Martin Luther King. He made a major difference because what I believe his work was to bring the situation to the world. Because there's so many people being hurt, locked up, the world began to know there's a problem over here. And he brought the light to the problem. We did boycotts. Hurt people's pockets. But guess what? We went back to buying the products again. We stopped boycotting. We stopped marching. You've got to live a life. You can't do that day in and day out. It works for a period of time. So the question is, what works? What is going to work? How do we get out of this? How do we move on? And the move on is really stepping into who you are, reminding yourself who you are. And it is a practice. It is a spiritual practice. Who am I? I am an expression of the divine. I am an expression of the divine. Where am I going? I'm going out into this world today, and I am meeting, what am I meeting? I'm meeting God. I am meeting God. I am meeting God. And see, the thing that I don't know that we realize is that when you call God, God answers. Has no choice. How many people know that? When I call on God, God's going to answer me. And sometimes it's spooky. It's like, whoop, where did that come from? But when you call on it, it answers you. Which means, if I get up in the morning, I remind myself who I am, and I step out knowing I'm going to meet God and calling God forth, I have no one else to meet but God. So, some of you have heard me say this before. How many people have practiced it and tried it? Now that's honest. Thank you. That's good, that's good. So, the people who just raised their hands, did you get any results from it?
Oh,
Positive?
positive.
Okay. Positive? Good. I am a scientist. I am a scientist. And my attitude about religion is try it. Try the Spirit, by the Spirit, see if it be of God. Various things that I have read in spiritual books, I take and I try them. Let me see if this is real. So one of the things that I did many years ago was I decided, I believe that God lives in me. I believe that. And so now I'm going to walk out in that consciousness. And I believe that God is in everybody. So when I go out, I'm going to consciously call God forth in the people that I meet. And I did an experiment with it. And I've shared this with some of you before. And I'm going to say to you now, I'm going to put out a call on everything social media that I know of to ask people to try this. Because I don't believe the answer is in boycotts anymore. I don't believe the answer is in people going out and being hit. There are two ministers, one whom I know personally, who was hit this week in a demonstration with tear gas. Another who was hit with some kind of bullet. I don't believe that's the answer. I honestly don't. I believe the answer is consciousness. The answer is knowing who you are and calling forth those that you're going to experience. And so this week I'm going to go out there on social media and ask people to join me in an experiment. The first, reminding yourself who you are. The second, calling forth the God in each and every person that you meet. And when I first did this, as I said, I'm an experimenter. I did it, I went home, I wrote down the results. I got smiles. People said hello. People held doors open. People were very polite. Treated me the way I should be treated. I did that for a week. The next week I said, well, let me see if that's real or not. Let me go back to being this black woman. Let me go out here and see what that's like. Doors slamming, money dropped in my hand. I've experienced where you try to run me over with the car. It was like hell, okay? So now I take my Libra scales and I weigh it out. Which one was better? Divine expression of God, black woman. Divine expression of God, black woman. Black woman. I'm choosing divine expression of God, okay? It allowed me to connect with others. It allows me to sit down at the table with others. It allows me to have trade with others. It allows me to have a loving experience with others. I choose that. Now, when we walk around in our suit, our physical suit, we get whatever the world says about the suit. Some cases, it's not really very wonderful at all. Does that mean that I've abandoned a group of people? No, what it means is I've stepped into the truth of who I am. That's what it means. It means that I am able to look past the suit and recognize that it is God meeting God. God meeting God. And if it's God meeting God, there is absolutely no contention in God. It's not going to fight itself. If anything, it's going to embrace itself. It's going to welcome itself in the door. God meeting God. You know, we talk this stuff a lot. I mean, you can go anywhere today. You're going to hear love. What is it? What are you doing to be it? Is the question. It's not about force. Force has never won anything but destruction. We are at a very critical time in this planet. It is a critical time. And it is you and I that begin to make that difference. Not a whole lot of people in here right now. However, if you truly step into your God self and you truly walk out as your God self, there is nothing, no thing greater than what you are at that moment. No thing. You need to wake up. You need to step into something greater. All kinds of things can happen to this suit. But what I know is that inside the suit is unharmed. Never harmed, never changed. It simply waits to be acknowledged. It waits to be called forth. There's greatness in this room. There's greatness in love. It is so healing. When you can step out as love in action, then you can be your brother's keeper. See, the other piece here is, let's be honest. If you're out in the street and there's a bunch of kids coming together, what's your first thought around it? Uh-oh. Are you scared? You think they're going to do something to you? Be honest. Do you see people in the community and there's something going, maybe their baby is doing something and you just walk by and say, oh, isn't that awful? Did you open your mouth and say something to that parent? Do you love them enough? Do you care about them enough? Yeah, they may cuss you out, so what? Do you love that baby enough to say something? See, we want communities to embrace other communities, but those in the community don't necessarily embrace themselves. That's the truth. It's about loving you. It's about loving the people you live with. It's about loving your community enough. It's interesting that, I have a thing about our males walking around with their behinds hanging out. I got a thing about it, okay? I admit it. I feel like they don't understand that what you put to the universe is put back to you. So you're showing your tookus, the universe shows you its tookus. You don't get that. That's the law. What I show to the universe shows back. So you got your hiney hanging out, now the world is kicking yours. And you wonder why. It's a law. The fact that you're ignorant of it doesn't make any difference. So there's a piece of me that when I see somebody with their clothes hanging off of them, this energy goes out. I don't even open my mouth. This energy goes out. They feel it. All of a sudden they go like this. It cracks me up. I don't have to open my mouth. But I want you to receive the good from the universe. And the fact that you don't understand that, and this is a style. It's a style you can't afford. You can't afford it. There was a style where people would walk around with their jeans all torn up. You can't afford it. Why? Because you are presenting to the universe poverty. And the universe says, oh, you want poverty? I got poverty for you. Here. Boom. The fact that we do not understand God's laws hurts us deeply and greatly. Deeply and greatly. There is no excuse. If you are driving too fast and you get stopped by the police and you say, well, I didn't know, no excuse. You just broke the law. Same thing with God. No excuse. There are laws. Your job is to learn the laws and stay within the laws. Whatever you desire to get back, you must project out. So if you are walking out in love, you get love. If you are walking out in fear, you attract things to be afraid of. Who are we? It's a tough question. Who am I? How do I expect to be treated? Who do I really expect to be when I go on my job? How do I really expect to be treated? And when do I come back home and say, see, I told you? That see, I told you is a real good way to figure out how you're thinking. Stinking thinking, stinking life. It's on us. Absolutely on us. It's not on a march. It's not on a boycott. It's on consciousness. Pure consciousness. It's on who you remind yourself you are every single day. Who you're willing to be. Who you're willing to stand up as. And the challenge is great right now. I talk about Mother Earth and Mother Earth being alive, and it is. And as we walk and the things that we are thinking and saying are going into this earth, reverberating across it. And you wonder why there are storms. She gets tired of it every now and then. Our job is to walk love into the ground. Peace into the ground consciously. Do you know how many hours we spend in nonsense? Those hours consciously thinking, I am walking peace, I am walking love, would make a great difference on this planet. The time is now. Not tomorrow. Not after some great disaster. See, what I also know about spirit is that we oftentimes forget the path that people have had to come across and get where we are, the blessings that we are receiving. And we forget, we disconnect. And so there are quote-unquote tragedies that show up that remind us, reconnect to God. Go back to prayer. Go back to community. This situation with this young man, I don't know that he did not make a commitment to do this prior to birth, to help bring us back. But when we get past this nonsense, when we have to have somebody lay down their life or some tragedy to call us back to God, how come we can't remember to be in God in the good while it's good? Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for my blessings while it's good, as opposed to crying out, Lord, help me. I really will. Thank you, God. I have to say this. I have to say this because I really honestly believe it starts with us. It starts with our love of ourselves. It starts with our love of our neighbor. It starts with being honest and true. It starts with expecting the best. Accepting the best. Knowing that you deserve the best. You deserve the best. Turn to your neighbor and tell him, I deserve the best. I deserve the best.
You got that straight.
And that's the consciousness we need to walk in. Nothing less than that. It's available. There's more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough. And the biggest lie is lack of limitation. It's the biggest lie out here that people have put out that make you feel like, oh, I can't, let me hold on to this. It's the biggest lie. Open your eyes and see the abundance that we walk in every single day. You don't need anybody else's goods because there's some goods waiting on you. You don't need to deprive anybody of anything because there's more than enough for you and them. The only way we show that is stepping into that. And you know, sometimes there are some of us that are afraid of the abundance. It scares us. What am I going to do? It's waiting on us to be an example of the abundance that is available. It's not about have it, hide it. It's about have it and talk about how God has brought that into your life. The same God that is in them. So what I want to kind of close on is reminding us who we are, which is divine expressions of the divine. Who are we living with? Divine expressions of the divine. Who do we meet every day? Divine expressions of the divine. Who do we pass on the street that we think is a stranger but is God expressed? And when we begin to move in that arena, life becomes very different. It's real interesting. So I invite you to try that. We're going to sing a song this morning, and I want you to be conscious of it and join in and really think about the words that this young lady has shared with us. And that is, how could anyone ever tell you? So it requires you to get up and move around in your comfort zone.
You were anything less than beautiful. How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. One more time. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your love is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Okay. Okay.
I want to invite our prosperity acceptors to come forward, please. Take out what you're going to give. And in keeping with Reverend Claire's message, what you show to the universe is what you get back. So open up the money, lay it flat in your hand, don't crumple it up and be all constricted about it. Be open. And repeat together with me what we repeat the celebration of law circulation. I know as I give to this ministry, I am giving to the support of my own spiritual growth. I am blessed with the consciousness of prosperity, and my blessings are pressed down and overflowing. I place this into the law of mind, and so it is.
Love is all around. talk each day a little kinder. Let me talk each day a little kinder. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way.
And I know that there is one power, one presence, one goodness, one all-encompassing wisdom, and allness to life. It is everything and everyone and everywhere. It is here and now. It always has been, always will be. It's goodness, love, joy, prosperity, freedom, peace, calm. It is all of these things, all the good of life. I know this presence thinks. It's the thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. I know that it thinks becomes that which it thinks about. And thought and movement became me, Zebulon Fry. I thought and movement became this experience as it. So did we, so did we all. We are all this one. So we are love and joy and freedom. We are compassion and prosperity. We are all the goodness of life. It's all here right now. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all already here. So I know that we take the message we got today, and I know that we take the feeling we got today in this place. And we go out into the world with goodness in our heart, with goodness in our intentions. And we create a world that is better than the one that we lived in yesterday. We become better than we were yesterday. That's how we do it. We use the science of mind to create a center in ourselves. We're the center of the circle with no edges. And we create the world around us in harmony with the goodness that we are. This is how life works. So I know there's truth for all of us. We are all rich. We are all whole and complete. Our health is perfect. Our relationships work. All is good. All good now. I know that anything that is not like love goes back now into the nothingness from which it came. It's all good now. Everything that I've said today is the truth. And with this, I release this truth into life, into the law of mind, knowing that it is done, with gratitude and joy in my heart. I let it go into the law, and so it is.
Everybody ready? Okay. Okay, so this group learned about,
Change. I learned about change.
and what is change?
Including
Okay, so let's hear the affirmation.
change is constant, delightful, and fun.
Yeah. Okay. And what is change?
Change was in constant with fun.
Good fun. Okay, thank you. Very much. Okay, please. Oh, we can go to
Thank you for coming. You have a great day. And if you'd like to go over to the house for refreshments, you're more than welcome.
The world can be so cold, but you are always warm. When my back is tired, you take me on. You're the moral compass directing me to life. You're the golden glow in the middle of my night. Recognition of the person that you are. Celebration of your heart. That's why I wanna give you your flowers now. That's why I wanna give you your flowers.
I'll think about how I